there we are. Hi,
Hi.
fabulous Group 9. So glad we're all here today. All right, we were supposed to read Part A and Part B of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago's mentoring program. Everybody on the same page?
Yeah.
Great. All right. Tessa will give you half a second to catch your breath. So, Shara, let's start with you. Let's see. Share with us one or two positive results of the pilot program.
One or two. One thing that was mentioned is that the mentees liked was that actually I guess it's for both the mentors and the mentees. They created lifelong relationships, which is good for the company. They have their relationships, better productivity in the company. Another thing I would say, employees weren't leaving the company because they were finding more opportunities to grow within their employment.
Excellent.
So,
there were lots of positive results. Allison, what can you add?
I'm trying to think. So I remember a large part of them started becoming promoted, so that made everybody really excited about seeing those results. And then the other one, I'm trying to think, because the two that stuck out to me have already been mentioned, so I'm trying to think of one more. Sorry, I'm totally drawing a blank.
That's all right. Think about it. Tessa, can you add any positive results from the pilot program?
Something I was thinking about is just how they talked a lot about initially how it was kind of like whenever they would start new initiatives, it would be kind of like the flavor of the day or the week, where people would get kind of excited about it, but then they weren't sure if it would really happen. And so I think that when it had a lot of success and it was something that people wanted, they were able to get excited. So I think it built a lot of trust, that it wasn't just going to like kind of be a maybe thing, but it was something that actually worked out. So I think that it built confidence in the employees a lot.
Yeah, employees in the program and offerings. Excellent. Allison, did you think of anything else?
There was, I think one was just talking about an added like education that they were able to get and they were able to see as well. So I think that was a huge positive for them, just being able to expound on what they learned but also learn more. And it wasn't just a place where I feel like they were able to apply themselves better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think it was, I thought it was amazing. It's an amazing program because they really had done their homework and gone to these professionals and consultants and really planned this out. And it wasn't just taking the applicants and making the matches, but they went further and they had all of their organized meetings and they allowed for all the other meetings with the mentors and the mentees and the groups and the guest speakers and all the things that they did for that year. Even all that they did, it still didn't take really all that much time away from their regular job duties. Still they had all these huge success and positive results. Excellent. So why do you think they had such great results in this pilot program? What part of their putting together the program, what part of the program worked so well?
I think one of the reasons that it worked so well is because of the pool of employees that they chose from.
Hmm.
It wasn't just new employees who were already probably pretty, I mean, it's a job, so you're not always like, yay, work. But, you go into a new job with a little bit more excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And they're already receiving attention and help. So I think that the fact that they focused on employees who had been there for a little bit longer, um, maybe they were working with employees who might have been a bit more discouraged, and so it kind of just gave them a little bit more oomph to their work.
Yeah.
I think that that is one of the reasons that it had so much success is because it kind of reignited um, good employees to do
Yeah,
better.
excellent. Shara, what can you think of another reason why this program was so successful?
Yeah, kind of to go off of that, um, the the matching process of the mentors and the mentees was very thorough. They made sure that they had similar interests and similar goals and things like that. I think that that was very helpful in keeping it successful.
Excellent. There was one mentor-mentee pairing where they actually found, and I can't name names, but they found that each of them had come to the banking industry in an unusual way, where they had all of this arts
Similar background.
um, and other community service background,
Mm-hmm.
and were shocked to find somebody else in the banking industry that they actually had so many similarities with.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And Allison, what else can you tell us about why the program worked so well?
I think I think one thing that really was to me that stuck out was Rubenstein and how involved he was because I think that he really took the time, just took his time to make sure everybody was happy and that everybody was working well with one another. And to me, it really made me um, I don't know, it kind of made me relate to my boss, and I am lucky that I have a really good boss who is very hands-on, but he's really involved in what we're working on at work and then also my personal life. And so in one thing we actually discussed this, and this might be a little bit off topic, but we were saying the people that we work with, we see more than we see our spouses, because we're with them 40 hours of the week and it's just with them. And so I think that for me, having a more hands-on boss is better. Well, especially when you have a good relationship with them because it makes it, I don't know, it makes work more enjoyable, and I think it helps the culture too. So I think that was a really good thing for him to do.
Excellent. I thought that they did, like I said before, they did an excellent job in preparing the program, doing their research, but I also thought they did a fabulous job in advertising.
Oh
That
yeah.
that was a big thing to really get the word out and explain what it's all about, and to reach people both in the daylight schedule as well as the night schedule. And they were there at the lunchroom, and I think they did a great job advertising the program, which increased the pool of employees. But I also liked what Tessa said about the fact that those, particularly the ones that were focused on, were not the brand new employees, because they were already getting other attention as new employees, but focusing on those that were maybe starting a little bit of
Right.
burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was excellent. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. How can mentoring, has anyone actually had an experience being mentored? Um, so like in the bank's mentoring program, it's not an immediate supervisor. In fact, they even tried to match up people who were in different departments so that they weren't in the same department, and that there was two pay grades between them, so that it really was somebody that you wouldn't normally associate with. You know, and I don't know that, you know, unless you were working at a company the size of this bank, you might not have that kind of broad disconnect between your mentor and mentee. But in any sense, it's a mentor would not necessarily be your supervisor or the one that's training you, but
Right.
it could, you know, whatever. What personal experiences have any of you had as, you know, when in any kind of a mentoring program?
I can go first. So I would say I've been mentored a few times, but the one that probably left the biggest impression on me was actually when I was trying to develop what field of study I wanted to go into. And so one of my young women's leader is running her own business, and she makes, I don't know, she does really well, and she does children's clothing. And so she saw that I had an interest in fashion and kind of helped me develop myself at the time, because I knew I wanted to go to this fashion school. And I remember she would teach me things about, because in LA there's a huge, LA, like California, there's a huge fashion district. She's like, these are places to go to, these are kind of showed me her connections, but also I just worked with her as an assistant doing wholesale and things like that. And so it kind of gave me a first, it allowed me to see what I did and didn't like about the business, and what I was really interested in, and what I really needed to learn. And then I remember telling her, when I became a senior, I was like, hey, I'm going to start putting my applications out or whatever to schools. And she's like, I'm like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to go to BYU, Idaho. They don't have a fashion program. They have fashion classes. But I'm like, what am I going to learn in Idaho or whatever? And she was like, Allison, the most important thing about fashion or about my business is the actual business side. And she's like, you're creative and you have that going for you, and that's not something you can really teach, but business is something that needs to be taught. And she's like, and I was a psych major, and now I've completely abandoned that. And I don't know, so that advice from her, and now we have a great relationship. I manage her social media and other things like that because of my business background. And so I don't know, that mentor from the very beginning kind of led me down a really good path where now I'm both like fashion savvy, but I'm also business savvy. So I don't know, just small advice like that, I think, I don't know, it totally changed the way my life was gonna head. I'm in a completely different direction. So
Excellent. What a great example. Shara, have you had any experience with a mentor?
Nothing formal like this article, but I guess through my work experience at IKEA, they did a really good job of mentoring their employees. And in this case, it was my direct manager, but every time we met with them, they either had us set a new goal, or we focused on a goal that was already set and how we could get there, as far as career development and how far we wanted to go with IKEA. And even, they were even open about if this isn't something you're interested in either, where do you see yourself, with school and all that stuff. They showed that they cared, and they just made sure that you were setting goals and that you were working towards them. So
Cool. Tessa, what's been your experience?
Okay, so everyone just froze completely for a good few minutes.
Oh, and now we lost her.
Oh no.
Hey, at least she's completely honest in that. That is totally great.
She missed out. Okay, well, I'll share with you my experience, and hopefully she'll be able to join us again.
Yeah.
Man,
Okay.
that was sad. Um, and I hadn't really thought about these until I was listening to your examples. You gave great examples. Sorry, she's sending me a text. Oh, she's going to try to get back on. Good thing I kept my phone with me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm okay. I am. Oh God, a long time ago, I didn't go to college. I didn't do any educational training after high school, and I was working. I'd worked in a couple of different areas. I was working at a company where we was kind of a bit like an accountant or an accounting clerk, and we were working with corporate retirement funds and working in with those funds and putting together their annual reports and their tax returns and those kinds of things. And I liked the work, but I thought it's about time to get some education and to do something more and see if I can take this experience and build on it. And so I was talking with my supervisor, and I was thinking about going to school and getting my paralegal training, and
Wow.
adding that to my experience. And she's like, "Well, it wouldn't do you any good here." I'm like,
Oh
"Okay,
gosh.
fine." And I thought, oh gosh, that was a really negative experience as a mentor. But then I do have a positive one too. Let's see if we got our cute still life photo there. She's working on it, maybe. But then I worked for several years, as I've told you before, at the elementary school in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And although I was specialized with the students who are learning English as a second language, and it wasn't a formal mentoring program, but one of the other teachers became the most incredible mentor to me, whether she intended it to be or not. No one in the school batted for me and my kids more than she did. She was the special education teacher, and we shared some students. Some students were with both her and others. There's Tessa. I'm so glad you're here. Let me just finish my story, and then you're on next. Yeah, hey, don't worry about it. It's technology. It's not you. You have no control over it. But for 13 years, she was amazing, and she shared ideas, and she taught me how to help manage behavior, and we collaborated on how to best help individual students that we shared in common, and it was a great experience. She's still, a wonderful friend, but so sometimes mentoring works, and sometimes when I was seeking a mentor, I got shut down. I went ahead and I did get my paralegal training, and I did utilize that, and I did move on to another company too. It worked out fine. So Tessa, you're going to share with us any mentoring experiences you've had.
I have been trying to think, because I feel like most of my experiences when it comes to mentoring have occurred mainly just in training for new jobs, and just kind of maybe clicking with somebody who's helping in the training process, or clicking with another employee that just kind of has helped. But I think the main thing that I could think of in my life that has been like that was when I got into the mission field. So my trainer, and she was really good in a lot of ways, but I probably would have been one of the people in that category that was like, I don't think I got paired up very well. Just because we saw things very differently, and I had a really hard time with my trainer. I learned a lot from her, but but it probably, like, so I guess in that sense it might not have been the best mentoring experience, but it was an experience nonetheless.
It's a valuable experience, and we should never ever minimize or downplay any kind of training or mentoring experience or anything that we get by virtue of our activity in the church. Any service that you give, any calling that you accept, anything that you do is invaluable training. And the only
It's
challenge
true.
is being able to express and make connections with what you do in your church service and how that applies and can equate into the business world. Because when you think about it, there's a huge leadership training that you receive by virtue of serving in any calling in the church.
Yeah.
So yeah, mission experience is amazing. So here's a question. Do you think that the bank mentoring program was more formal, and they matched the mentees with the mentors, and they did the whole pool? Which do you think has more benefits? Seeking a mentor on your own, or going through a formal program like the bank had? What are the pros and cons that you can think of on either side? Either an organized formal program where you're matched, or seeking a mentor for yourself, or an opportunity to be a mentor to someone else. Which way would you go? Formal, informal? Sherry, you want to start?
Sure. I am kind of leaning towards formal. I think that there could be some benefits from doing it informally and taking it out on your own, but I like seeing how successful they were in doing it formally. I think that would be the way to go, mainly because I was kind of thinking about it, and I feel like if the employees know kind of the expectations, or like if they have kind of a guideline to go off of, then they have somewhere to start. Like start with the relationship and start goal setting and things like that. So I kind of lean more towards formal.
Excellent. Allison, what do you think? Which way are you leaning?
I'm leaning towards formal because for the simple fact that I think it requires less work,
Yeah.
which is a terrible thing. But for somebody like myself, I have a really hard time being like, I have a good time building relationships, but when it comes to like that awkward networking part where you're like, hey, I really like if you could be my mentor, I hate that because
Yeah.
because I'm the type of person that's like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want you to do anything because you feel obligated to do it, and it's kind of awkward. It's like that little blimp of time when you ask is so awkward, incredibly awkward for me, and like, I hate it. So sometimes for me, I'm like, I like when things are done and it's expected of you to be my mentor, just because for the simple fact that like it just requires less work. And for me, I don't know, that's kind of stupid, but that's completely how I feel.
Yeah,
That's all right. That's
I
all right.
agree.
Tessa, are you leaning towards formal then too? Is this a consensus? No, you don't have to. We're not pushing.
No, I honestly just a couple thoughts. My personality is I'm fairly shy. I can be outgoing if I have to be, but for the most part, if it's a networking thing, it's like, oh, I don't want to bug people, like,
Yeah.
so I'm probably not going to ask for help, and I wouldn't even know who to ask for help. And so it would be very helpful to me if I was just set up with someone to be like, oh, here, let me help you. Because I can usually get along with just about anyone if I need to. And so, whereas if I have to make something come out of nothing, it's like, oh my gosh, so stressful.
Yeah.
So I think with the formal, but I think that going along with what was in the reading as well, they chose a lot of the applicants based on the fact that they didn't have access to people normally. And so, for them to just make a connection wasn't very likely. So for them to be paired up with someone made the most sense.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards formal for the reasons that you've expressed, as well as the fact that through the formality, through the setup of the program, then the mentors were trained as to
Mhm.
what to do and how to do this and how to best help their mentees. And it was that initial training that helped them, both the mentors and the mentees, to figure out how this program really can help them the most, and how to set up goals, and then to meet monthly to check on those goals and the progress. So I think that the training and the organization and the follow-up, the regular follow-up through the organization's leader, Rubenstein or whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, Rubenstein. I think that has a great potential. If in an informal mentor situation, mentor-mentee, if it really works, I think that's a fluke. I think that's not the norm. And so if you have it organized and have all of these leadership and training experiences, you have a much higher possibility of success.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. So why we were so successful the first round?
Mhm.
Why do you think less people signed up for the second round? Allison, why less?
I don't know, that's kind of hard because if I was like the second round of people and I heard all the successes that came from the first, just knowing myself, I'd be like, I gotta capitalize. Like, so for me, it's kind of disappointing that there was less people who had signed up. I think I think maybe part of it would have been the time commitment. And maybe people weren't willing to sacrifice that time either to mentor or to gain more education. I don't know. Those are kind of my thoughts. Just I think that people maybe are just lazy, and maybe I don't know.
Maybe. So,
Maybe.
Tessa, why do you think less people signed up the second round?
Um, I, I thought about that. I think that it is kind of strange just because of the great success that the pilot group had had. Um, but, I agree with Allison. I think a lot of it could be laziness and just not wanting to commit the time. Um, it was interesting to me that they really didn't advertise it that much. And so, along with like the laziness, most people when they're at work, it's like, unless something's like bright neon in your face, like you just go about doing your regular thing and you don't really think about it. And so, they were worried that, maybe they'd have just too many people sign up, so they didn't advertise. But most people are just going about their regular day to day things. And unless that's something that they were really wanting to do before, I don't think that people really would have sought it out. Some people might have been waiting for more advertisement, and then they missed their chance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Shara,
Yeah.
any other ideas about why it didn't go so well the second round, or what they might have done differently, the company, to encourage more applicants?
Yeah, I agree with both of what they said. Kind of, I was kind of thinking of what Tessa said about advertising. I maybe there wasn't enough interest in this time around because they didn't know that much about it. Um, Maybe that's something that they could have done differently. Is all the people that participated and experienced the success in it. Maybe they could have done a little bit more in advertising that to the employees.
Yeah, I think the key issue is the lack of advertising, because we did talk about one of the benefits of the program was increased trust in the company to actually follow through with the program that they had, talked about or began. Um, but when that program wasn't heavily advertised, then a lot of people might have doubted that it really was happening again. Oh, it did. It was great for a year, but it's gone now. Or they just missed the boat. I think that was the key problem, is that they didn't advertise it enough, and people just didn't know, because the third year they had even more than the first year, so, and the fact that they kept going 3 years, that we know about in this report. I think that really says a lot about the bank and their dedication to the program. So that was really great. So other than advertising, are there any other ideas that you have about how to get more people involved without forcing them to be involved? What else could we do to encourage people to be mentors or mentees? I'll let anybody jump in who has an idea first.
Well, it talked about. Oh,
Nope,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Tessa.
Well, it talked about how at the end they kind of incentivized the mentors. They gave them gift cards.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I think who doesn't want money? But I think, they did all of the testimonials and stuff. But I was kind of wondering, what if they had really sat and written down the things that they learned specifically? Because to me, if I hear of somebody who, because of the program, has been promoted or received a raise because their mentor had really helped them make some changes, I would want to know about that, because it's like, well, if this person was so successful, I could be that successful. And a gift card would be nice, but that's $10, $20 now. Whereas if I join this program and I end up improving myself and getting a raise, that's going to last me a lot longer than that gift card.
Yep. Excellent
So I think
thoughts.
just like incentives based on past successes. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah. Allison, did you have any
Yeah,
thoughts?
so I was gonna say the best incentive is always cash, because money talks. But as cliche as it is, it's the truth. But it's the truth. Other than that, I wish there was a different incentive. I don't know. Sometimes I can't gather my thoughts well enough to explain. I think sometimes just giving back to others, because I've seen it firsthand with my young women's leader, with mentoring me, as far as a career goes. But even in if I think about church, I'm a part of primary, and I have kids who are turning almost 12, and so I don't know. I feel like even though I go to church and I teach a lesson and I try, it's that added pressure that you're like, okay, well, I want to do more, and I don't know where that comes from, and I think that's kind of hard for me to pinpoint because maybe I'm not mentoring them in the sense like, here's some gospel truth, but like actually being like, hey, I'm a friend, I've been through this, I want to be there for you, kind of a thing, and I think as a mentor, I would like that from a mentor rather than somebody's like, well, let me just help her because she needs my help or she needs some advice or something like that. So I don't know what causes people to become really invested other than money. But I think even if money is involved, you don't really become that invested because you're just like, well, I'm here to get my bonus or my gift card to Applebee's. I don't know. So for me, it's just so hard to pinpoint because I'm like, what is it in me? Like in the church, it's different because it's like the Lord is just speaking to me and is like, Allison, you just gotta help him. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But in work, it's so different because it's you kind of are taking away that spiritual side of you. So I don't know. That's my answer. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
a great answer, Shara. Do you have any thoughts about what we should do different to build and invite more applicants, get more participation?
Yeah, so I was actually thinking about, I think it because they set a applicant limit that they had to turn some of them away.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
For the first year.
yeah, um, I don't know if that's something that they changed or I can't remember. But maybe for those applicants that weren't able to be part of it, I'm assuming they had to wait however long to be part of the next one.
A year.
Yeah. Um, maybe they could have had them be a part of something else while they were waiting to be, so that they wouldn't lose interest. Because I'm sure there were probably a good number of them that were turned away, and I don't know if they were part of the next round or not, but that might have helped them keep interest.
Yeah, losing interest. People lose interest pretty quickly. They can lose interest pretty quickly. I ran a before school program for several years, and the very first group that I did, and the program ran in 6-week blocks, and I was limited on space, and I actually had to turn some students away, and some of those, and it was only a 6-week block, so I started the next group 6 weeks later. Some of those kids that got turned away that first group never ever came back, and I ran it for several years. And
Jeez.
yeah. So sometimes you got to grab that interest while you can,
Yeah.
because it goes. So next question: should we limit the size of the program, or should we expand it? Tessa, what do you think? Limit or expand the number of mentors and mentees matchups?
It's hard because the small number makes it more personal,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes it easier to control. But it's true. If you lose, sometimes people, if you lose them in that first, it's like, okay, I'm going to try this and I'm going to do it, and then that's not their normal thing and they get turned away. It's like, okay, well, I guess it wasn't for me, and they don't go back.
Right.
So, I don't, part of me wants to say, if it's something that's successful, with time, you should definitely expand it.
Yeah.
I think that the pilot was so successful, and I think that in that second round, it might not have been as successful, but that gave them time to maybe figure out how to expand it. I think that just with time, they could probably maybe not just expand all at once, but gradually, you could make it bigger. Because I think if it's a good thing, it should be shared with those who are needing and asking for it.
Yeah, it seems to me that the third round was bigger than both the first and the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was just still 25 pairs. But it was
Okay.
bigger than the second round. They went back up to 25 pairs. But excellent points about during that second round, giving them time to um, improve and tweak the program just enough. Allison, what do you think? Bigger, smaller, controlled? Let it go?
So let it go. No. One thing. So what this helped me relate to is actually my experience as a student at BYU Idaho, where the class sizes are a lot smaller. I remember I had a class that had like 20 students in it, versus everybody from back home in California who was going to university who had like 75 plus students in it. And so, and I guess in that kind of setting, your teacher is your mentor because you're obviously being taught by a teacher. But I really appreciated having smaller classes because I appreciated having more one-on-one time with my teacher and having and building that relationship, because eventually that does lead to a networking experience, or it bumps you up a grade, whatever it could be. So I kind of was thinking about that, and I just really loved having a smaller group, because like Tess said, it's just the personal interaction that you're able to gain with one another that I think really makes it such a great program. The only thing that stinks is denying people, that this wonderful opportunity. So if possible, I would see if they were able to get more people to mentor, and maybe that would mean that people would need to there would need to be an incentive for mentors, because it would be so time consuming. But I would try to expand it as big as we could, maybe get it to another 10, another 35, because I even think that is a good number. But it's hard. I'm like,
That's an
everybody should
excellent.
join, but
Yeah.
smaller groups are better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an excellent point you made about the benefits of smaller class sizes and making that correlation, because there are definite benefits
Yeah.
to a smaller group. And did everybody? I'm about done with questions. Anybody got any other thoughts about this whole mentor program? I wish everybody did it. I wish I had a mentor at my new job. Oh my gosh.
Right.
I need a new mentor. Yeah, I need a mentor.
I need a mentor for life. Does anyone want to sign up?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Oh, yeah.
Lord is my eternal mentor, I guess.
I can't give you gift cards, but I could make you dinner or something.
Hey,
Good
cookies
gift.
are always good.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Okay, so a grade for our group this week. Shara, how do you think we did?
10. I think
Yay, 10.
we're just all really awesome.
We're awesome.
Very
Tessa, what do you
true.
think? Tessa, are you still there?
Yes, I give us a
good.
10.
Okay,
Even though,
thanks.
well, I give you guys 10. I give me like a 9.
No.
Work!
No, you're fine.
Allison,
And I give us a 10 as well. We
excellent.
can raise the roof a little bit on that one too.
Woohoo! All right, I'm going to stop. Don't leave. I'm just going to stop the recording, and then we can chat a little bit more about
Okay.
some of stuff. So, adios for this week.